Okay everyone, let's talk about automation in Drambo 2.0. As you can see, I have my mouse cursor here, and in fact, mouse cursor, mouse pointer, and in fact I bought a personal mouse, so I'm no longer using my work mouse. I have one of my very own for these tutorials, so that is fantastic. But yeah, let's talk about automation, which is of course the change of values over time. Rather like how civil rights have improved in enlightened countries over the past 30-40 years. Or have they? Ooh, hot take. Yes, it can be positive or negative values, so let's not say where is which. This is not a political channel. Yeah, so let's delve into how automation used to work in previous versions of Drambo, which was based on parameter locking. So you would live record a sequence, and then you'd move a knob, and your automation, as it was, it's kind of pseudo-automation really, would appear in each of these steps as a value, as if you'd p-locked to that particular value. So what I'll do here is I will replicate that just to show you kind of how it worked. It's not entirely easy because I'll have to do a new position for this knob each time. There we go. Now I'll enter a chord. Oops. And I'll spread that out over the sequence, and then I'll hit play, see what happens. Here you can see the automation moving, but this is only pseudo-automation. It's kind of replicating. It's replicating me moving this knob in real time. However, what's actually happening is it's recording a value on step 1, then step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, etc. So it's not smooth automation as we would understand it in other apps. So in Drambo 2.0 we do now have this smooth automation. So if I get rid of everything here, if I select all of these, you can see these p-locked values here are indicated in red. I can either clear everything that's here, or if you for example only have a note here, if you have a note and p-locks, then you can select this clear p-lock option. If you use the right arrow to move on to the next set of options in that particular menu. And then as you can see, this sequence is now clear, and we can move on to talk about automation in Drambo 2.0. So the first thing I'll do is live record automation into Drambo 2.0, and we can see how that works. So I will hit this, and we'll see what happens. I mean, that is a very weird chord sequence, not quite what I intended, but it will get the point across when I record the automation. So if you move up to any of these knobs, I'll use filter cutoff just because it's a very convenient way you can always hear the automation happening. So you record it in real time. What will happen is when I'm holding the knob, as the sequence progresses, it will record the automation. When I let go of the knob, the automation will have recorded. If I decided to continue holding onto the knob until the sequence looped back around, what would happen is it would begin recording it again here, would overwrite anything that was kind of would have already appeared there. I'll show you what I mean. Let's do this. See, I'm moving this down and then up again. Let go, hit play to stop recording. Now we can see automation in this new view. We have a tab, it is here, and there we go. As you can see, much finer increments. All of these points along here are points of automation showing the change of values over time, and there are many more automation points than there ever were when you recorded them in this pseudo-automation in the previous version of Drambo that I described earlier. It's much more granular, and live recording is very useful. And let's talk about how you can see the knob moving at the same time as you've recorded the automation. If you drag it down here, then the view, you can have the keyboard view here. You can either minimize the keyboard completely, or if you move it about there, then you can kind of have a playable keyboard, depending on your size of iPad. So I have a 10.5 inch iPad Pro from 2017, plan to upgrade later on in the year. Need more followers to do so, so like and subscribe, please. Yes, well, I don't actually need more followers to do so. I'm upgrading anyway. But yeah, just sorry for emotionally blackmailing you there. Apologies, but if you could like and subscribe, that would be lovely. Just my ego. Yes, what was I explaining? Okay, so you change where the view is. If you move this keyboard view up, then it appears like on the top half of the screen. But if you lower the keyboard, it'll appear here. And then what you'll be able to see is that as I hit play, you'll be able to see this transport move, showing the automation, and also be able to see the knob here. So this view is pretty useful because it allows you to see the automation that you've recorded as you're recording it. Oh, in fact, not as you're recording it. As soon as you let go of the knob, it will appear here. So if I show you that, let's first of all have a look at a couple of things that have happened here. When I recorded the automation, this filter cutoff automation lane appeared here. And if I want to get rid of the automation, I click on this rubber icon here, or eraser icon, and you just drag along, and that automation is now removed, except it will now still treat this as an automation lane. So the way I show this is if I put this knob here and just hit play, what you should see is that even though I placed the knob here, because there is an automation here and there's a point on the left and there's a point on the right, even though I think I have got rid of the automation that was recorded, I haven't actually got rid of the automation lane. So that's got us something to bear in mind. What we should see is that even though I have my cutoff knob here, we'll still see an automation, I think it's a white indicator here showing where the automation value is. So let's hit play and see if that appears. Yeah, as you can see, it is there. And that is not where we want the knob, because if I remove the automation, then I obviously want the cutoff value to be where the knob actually is. So in that regard, you actually have to get rid of this lane completely in order to remove the value that the line is at. So let's get rid of that. The other way to add automation is you hit plus here, and then it says select parameter. Then I can click this knob again, and the filter cutoff automation lane will appear. And here, as you can see, it's actually appearing at the level of the knob. Now, at the moment, you can't actually see the values in terms of you can't see like this automation has value of 100, say. But what you can do is you use the grid to work it out. So here would be a 0 value of the knob. Here would be 25% up, 50% up, 75% up, 100% up. And we can change the grid, as I'll show you a little bit later, so that that'll be in finer increments, and you can, if you're creating automation here rather than live recording it in, you can use the grid to kind of snap to values, which is useful. So we've seen how when you have the automation lane here, you can hit plus, you can add a new one, so let's add a resonance here, and I added that from the add parameter heading there. If we get rid of everything that's in here, just click on it and hit delete, and do that for this one as well. You may wonder, well, I can see the knob here, so I can hit plus and then choose the parameter here. But what if I have this view up here? What do I do then? Well, what happens if, as soon as you hit plus, it'll actually switch to the module screen and you'll be able to select the parameter from there. So that's how that works. That's cool. I quite often, I like to see this view here when I'm recording the automation live. If I'm trying to manipulating it up either after the fact or manipulate it from the start, then I like to raise this view up so that I can see it, see this larger view instead, which is good. Right, let's talk about these shapes that we have here, which govern how you can actually place automation in this editor, and we'll also talk about the snap X and snap Y. So if we change snap X to 8, then what will happen is each of these bars in the looper will have 8 points of automation along the x-axis that we can snap to. The easiest way to see this actually is to just select one bar in the looper, and that will just show this area, and we can loop that area if we want to. So and at the moment, as you can see, we have this cutoff knob is very low because it's when the automation lane appeared, it will be at the level that the knob is to begin with. So let's explore this snap parameter. Snap X. So we have 8 points along the x-axis that we can snap to. One of the easiest ways to draw automation is to use the line tool here. Then say we wanted to move it up to there, wanted to move it there, just produce some kind of whizzy cut-off effect as we go along. Snap Y is currently off. What that should mean is that I can actually snap it to points in between the Y values, so the Y axis moves up like that. So we know that everything was snapped to the X, so even if I select away from the x-axis, what will happen is it will snap to the closest x point. So let's have a look here. It will snap to there because I did it there. If I do it here, then what will happen is it will snap to this nearest x. Because snap Y is off, what should happen is that I can do the automation anywhere along the y-axis without it snapping to any values. Whereas if we have these four points here, so if I selected 4, then we got snap Y4, and it would actually then only snap to the nearest Y value. And what this means is you can snap Y either very like rigidly, or you can have it so that it's up to 32 Y axis snap points, so get very granular with that at 32, I would say. Or you can have it off completely. If you turn it off, then the snap grid will still reflect what you had in there before, but it just won't actually snap to anything. So yeah, as before, the easiest way to show that is to have it at this very kind of large snap points and then hit off, and then you can see you can move anywhere between those. Now that isn't the case with the x-axis, weirdly. I've been finding if I hit off for the x as well, even though I have this here, I haven't been having much success in actually placing automation points along the x-axis. I assumed that with snap off that would happen, so I'm not sure if that's intentional or a bug. I'm not entirely sure. That's something I'll have to talk to Giku about. Hotline to Giku. Let's explore these shapes that we have here. Let's just play this automation that we have actually, and just you'll be able to see it move along the timeline, and you'll be able to see the knob move again. If you want to replicate what was in Drambo before 2.0, so we explained how it was could have it as a p-locked value per step, then the easiest way to do that now is to, if you select 16 snap points on here, and you have this tool selected which produces this kind of boxy automation, then you can essentially replicate a value at each particular point, and then yeah, so that could be useful if you want to kind of replicate it in the old way. There are currently some people on the Beat Street forum who are asking if we could choose between smooth automation and the way it used to be in terms of recording it live. So we'll see if the old way comes in as well. Using the loop browser here, we have it selected to one bar at the moment. What you can do is you can select 2, you select 3, you select all of it, and just ignore the menu that appears if that appears. So there we go. That's that tool there. Have this triangle tool as well. So just creates lovely, well, triangular shapes really, and you can drag that up and change things around. Then we have this setting that produces the curve like that, and the other one is this archway kind of thing. So it's yeah, you can mix and match these depending on exactly the kind of automation you want to do. Let's talk about this tool here. This tool is for adding a curve to your automation. So the easiest way to explain this is if we do a line, do some lines around here, and let's get rid of these 3 points. Then we have a nice line leading up. This will add a curve if you select in between 2 points of automation that are kind of vertical. If there's a vertical movement there, so there's a movement on the y-axis, then you can drag this handle and it will move a curve around. There's a second option here which is actually even more useful potentially. This option here produces a handle attached to the right hand side of the right hand automation point out of the 2, and also one on the left one as well. So you can really go wild with some curves here. It's just fun just playing around with this. It's weird. Weird how just moving a handle is fun, but it kind of is. Am I weird? Who knows? Well, yes. So that is the curve editor. We've been through all of these bits. We've been through the snap. Let's now talk about copy and paste. Now, there will be occasions where you want to replicate your automation in another automation lane. So let's say we want to do the resonance here. Let's actually play what we have already in our. Let's just loop this first bar because it's the only one we've actually placed automation in. So if we play what we have, it's very exciting. Then if we want this resonance lane to also have this automation, there's a way to do that. We just click on this lane, we hit copy, then we move to the filter resonance lane. Now you might think, I hit paste. It's a very convenient paste shortcut. That is not for this, as I found to my cost in a previous version of this video, which I may show you at some point soon. Not in this one. I think it'll be a separate video entirely, just how much of a disaster this all was before. We have this paste option here. If I hit paste here, then that automation from the cutoff will be replicated, and obviously I can just leave it as it is, or I can fiddle around with it, and if I fiddle around with it, it won't change what's in the cutoff one at all. So let's move that line, move that, and then we'll switch to cutoff. As you can see, it hasn't affected it at all. We hit play now, and we've got some lovely whoosh noises happening. Do love a filter whoosh because it's great. So what, you may ask, is this paste for if it's not for pasting automation? Well, it is for pasting automation. It's just for pasting automation between clips. So let's record another clip here. Do another chord sequence. Oh, it's very quiet because the cutoff knob is by default where I placed it. It is get rid of that bar. It is currently there, so if I raise it, still I'll be able to hear it a lot better. So yes, let's talk about pasting automation between clips, copy and pasting automation between clips. So let's return to the clip that I had with the automation in it. Now you can actually see that I have automation in it by looking at this little triangle in the bottom right hand corner. Very useful little triangle there, shows you have automation. At the moment what I have is, in order to edit a clip, I have to double tap on it. So if I do that, then it's still only looping that first bar that I had before. So oops, if I select the automation editor, we can see what we had there. And one thing to remember, which I ran into there, was that if you hit this arrow, I thought I was moving the automation view up. It's actually moving the clip view up. You have to use this handle here to drag the automation view. Right, now let's have a look at this mysterious paste icon. In fact, I will have it in the middle view to do that, because what we can do is we can see our clips much more easily here. I will copy the automation from the filter cutoff. I will edit clip, double tap, so I need to double tap on this clip. Then what happens is, if I hit paste here, what should happen is the filter cutoff lane from this clip will appear in this clip. And it has. There we go. Fantastic news. Very good. Yep, so that means it's easy to copy automation between clips. At the moment you can't copy, if you have say 4 or 5 automation lanes, then you can't copy every single one in between clips, but hopefully that will come in the future. So for example, I had my resonance one here as well. If I wanted to copy that, then I would have to copy and paste that separately for now, but like I said, hopefully the option will come in that you'll be able to copy all the automation in one go. Right, let's move on to the last thing here, which is the smooth parameter. So the smooth parameter, it won't make you smoother as a person, unfortunately, so social situations it won't help with, but what it will help with is smoothing out automation. The easiest way to explore this, I have been told, is to do some pitch envelope automation. Pitch envelope automation? No, just pitch automation. So I have this wavetable oscillator loaded here, as we've had all along, and I will get rid of the 2 automation lanes that we have in this clip. I'll make sure that I'm actually that I actually have this. Yeah, let's get rid of this one as well. So I wanted to check which clip I had selected. Let's add an automation lane. Let's add this oscillator tune. Let's raise this handle up so we can see properly, and then I am going to raise this up here. I'm going to do the line tool. I'm going to move that there. I'm gonna get rid of these points along the way here. Now, hopefully, we'll be able to hear change in the pitch. We have this looped as well, so let's reduce the tempo actually, and then it'll be hopefully even easier to hear it. So let's see what happens with smooth off. And what we should be able to hear, if we do it all the way to 50 milliseconds, what we should be able to hear is a slight change in the character of the automation in terms of the sound. In terms of, there's just kind of a slight lag factor behind it. You hear that meow kind of thing, whereas if we have it off, it's quite subtle, but it's not quite the same. And that will change between these values. Let's see if we can. If we have a few points, see if we make it any more obvious. Did you hear how one's kind of happening instantly in this 50 milliseconds is just kind of lagging slightly behind and creating a sound that's not quite the same. Your mileage may vary with this. It's on some automation values in terms of what you're affecting. You can hear it, with other ones you can't really. So yeah, just play around with that and see what you think. Let's move on to AUV3 automation. So I'll get rid of my sequence here. So one way to do that is to, if I highlight everything, then this menu appears. Does it appear if I just highlight them and let go? No, I have to highlight them and then keep them highlighted. Then I can hit delete and that will get rid of everything in this sequence. I'm going to move on to track 2 and I'm going to load an audio unit instrument AUV3. The one I'm going to load is Giku's own Xeon. This is a fantastic synthesizer. I'm going to change to a preset. Let's see. Where are the presets he made for the launch of the synth? We've got one here called Future Singer. So I'll lower the volume on that so you can hear me. So let's talk about recording a AUV3 automation here. If you have an AUV3 loaded, it works for live recording the same way as the internal Drambo modules, which is excellent. So there's no need to actually map a knob. The way you map a knob is you hit map, you move this cut off, and you see the word you see the 1 there, and a knob has now appeared. I'll remove this knob. There's another way you can do that, which is if you just hit map and then click on this 0, you can actually see all the parameters that you can add to this mapping list. For everyone you add, a knob will appear. But if you don't want to do that, you just want to live record some automation, just hit record and play, and then you can move a knob. And I'm now recording automation, as you can see here. So if I actually also recorded a note into the sequence, then we'd hear the automation start to play. You can see that the cutoff knob is moving. This amp envelope is very releasey. Yeah. So and once you've recorded the automation, obviously you can change it after the fact. So got all of these points here. You can use all the tools that you had. So I could add a curve to this bit, for example. I could rid of anything I wanted with the eraser tool. I could add these, so after the fact automation's also good. But the other way that you can record automation in is to add an automation lane yourself. And let's talk about automation from here. If we hit plus on here and we selected this cutoff, has anything appeared? I think not. It has not. So you can't just assign automation to a knob in exactly the same way as you could. I'll double tap with my finger on the select parameter to remove it. But what I am interested in is whether if I hit record here, then I select a knob. Does that add anything? That adds the filter cutoff knob itself here without adding an automation lane. So that's quite interesting. I think surely the ultimate plan must be to make this adding automation work in exactly the same way as the internal modules. After all, it adds in the same way when it comes to live record with AAV3s. So if I get rid of this knob again, double tap on that to remove it. I return to the automation lane. Let's actually move the automation lanes here so we can more easily see what's happening. If I hit plus and record isn't on, and I move the cutoff, then I hit X here. Nothing has appeared. The select parameter is still there. If I hit plus when record is on here, even though the transport isn't running, I go in here, I move the cutoff knob. Now, even though nothing has appeared here in the map screen, what has happened is that this knob has then appeared. So then if we move the knob that's appeared here, see the select parameter is still here. If we move this knob, then the automation lane appears. So it seems that in version 2.0 at least, there's kind of a missing link here. So what I'll do after recording this, I'll go on to the Drambo forum and I'll ask Giku about this. In fact, it's very unprofessional. You may be able to hear me. You may be able to hear me tapping away, or you may not be able to hear me tapping away. What I'm going to write on my Mac is ask Giku about AUV3 missing link. Hopefully I'll know what that means when I come to it. So so after we have this knob here, then we can create automation here in exactly the same way. We can, so let's you can see the knob moving here. We could also, if I get rid of this completely, we could also just live record any mapped knob. So if we had the knob mapped here, we could just live record in knob movements, then let go, the automation has appeared. So that is automation in Drambo, the internal modules, how to do automation in those, and also how to create automation in the AUV3s. We've learned how to live record, we've learned how to add automation lanes, we've learned how to use all these shapes, we've learned how to erase things, we've learned how to use the grid, we've learned the smooth parameter and how mileages may vary. So I think we've covered everything. My next video will probably be about this view here. Look, it looks like a little graph and all these lovely parameters to choose from. What do they all mean? Some of them are obvious, other ones maybe not as much, so we'll talk about those in the next video. But until then, enjoy your day or night whenever you watch this, and well, I'm not ordering to you two. You can decide not to if you want, but I suggest it's a good idea. And I'll speak to you very soon. Cheers, goodbye, like and subscribe, goodbye.